We are live, and there's a lot to talk about as the New York Yankees were able to get a 4-2 win over the Milwaukee Brewers in their opening day victory. And because they got the win, let's get it started real quick with a I am your host, Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees. We've got a packed show for you over the next hour. We're going to break down the game, talk about Carlos Rodon's start, look ahead to the second game of this 3-game set against the Brewers. Before we do everything, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check out our social media pages on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and, of course, YouTube. We have a website, empiresportsmedia.com, where you can check out our written content and our written work. And without further ado, let's get things going. So, again, action-packed show. We're going to break down Rodon's start. We're going to talk about the offensive performance, and we're going to preview Game 2. But let's talk about what happened today. Let's live in the now. And right now, the New York Yankees played the Milwaukee Brewers, got a very, very, very nice win to start the year. And it started early and often. Carlos Rodon set the tone in the first inning by striking out Jackson Chourio, the first batter he faced, and quickly getting 2 more outs. And Austin Wells delivered the Yankees' first run and home run of the 2025 season with just, let's be honest, a porch job. Now, does any one of us care? No. But it was, just attacking a fastball he got in zone. If I'm not mistaken, it was the first fastball he saw in the strike zone, and he took it out the yard. Shout out to the people in the chat mentioning that Austin Wells would be the first person to hit a home run for the Yankees today, because it did have a feel as if, you look at how the Brewers were going to try and attack the Yankees. It was a lot of off speed in the second and third time through the order, but in that first time through the order, a lot of fastballs, and Wells was one of the guys who crushed that pitch. So with that being said, the second inning, Rodon continues his momentum. He continues to pitch well, and Anthony Volpe responds with a fly ball to right field, his first home run of the season. He had a phenomenal swing on this ball, an inside-out swing on a fastball inside. I was very impressed with the at-bat, very impressed with his spring training, so I wasn't surprised to see this course of events. I had mentioned multiple times throughout spring that Volpe was someone who had impressed me despite not having particularly great results. So with that being said, Volpe gets the big home run. Yankees are up 2-0, but there's a little bit of a speed bump for Carlos Rodon. An early test for the left-hander as he gives up a home run to Vinny Capra. Vinny Capra, someone who I don't think Yankee fans were necessarily targeting as a dude to watch for a potential home run, but he went yard. The Brewers brought him in specifically to hit against left-handed pitching, and that he did. Now, following that was the Bryce Terang 103-mile-an-hour single, and now you start thinking, oh no, Carlos Rodon's about to give this game back, but he fires a strikeout against Chourio, gets Yelich to line out, and then eventually strikes out William Contreras. Things kind of go quiet from there. These two teams exchange zeros from that point forward. Look, the Yankees and Brewers are two teams with pretty excellent pitching staff, so that wasn't particularly surprising. But after the Yankees were able to get a really strong 5 innings to Rodon, he ran into a little bit of trouble in the 6th inning. He walks Christian Yelich, he gets a ground out, then he walks Rhys Hoskins, and Aaron Boone says that's enough. Rodon finished his day with 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 4 hits, and 5 1/3 innings pitched, but not a complete line. See, he still had 2 runners who were credited to him, and it would come up to Tim Hill, someone who was a hero for the Yankees last year, to get his normal ground ball magic. He gets a ground out from Sal Frelick. Then Joey Ortiz just dribbles a 23-mile-per-hour single that keeps the inning alive. Bases are loaded. Isaac Collins comes in the game to hit for Garrett Mitchell, a righty facing a lefty now, and he battles a little bit his at-bat before eventually grounding out. keeping the score at 2-1. That ended up being a pivotal inning when you start getting through the later parts of this game, as well the Yankees would go quietly in the 6th and would have a pretty dominant outing from Mark Leiter Jr. in the 7th to keep things at 2-1. The bottom of the 7th inning saw the Yankees add 2 very critical insurance runs. Ben Rice starts the inning with a walk. He had a single as well. Said he was on base twice. As well as Cabrera, against a left-handed pitcher, was able to collect his first hit of the season. Austin Wells unable to come through with 2 on and no one out. But it's Aaron Judge, the captain. You can't doubt him. Lining a 103-mile-per-hour double off the third base bag. A run scores, that being Ben Rice. And Cody Bellinger adds another run with a sacrifice fly to right field. So the Yankees able to do a little bit of damage in the bottom of the 7th. This ends up being super consequential, as after Luke Weaver gets a pretty clean, he walked someone, but he had 2 strikeouts in his 8th. A pretty strong 8th inning. The Yankees would go quietly in the bottom of the 8th. He wouldn't add anything else outside of a Trent Grisham single. And then Devin Williams would step to the mound. And look, Devin Williams had what is nothing short of a rough start to his Yankee career. He allows a single, then a double, then walks the first 3 batters he faces while protecting a 3-run lead. A sac fly from Bryce Terang was driven to center field. This was not a soft hit out. And then Jake Bauers sneakily steals second base to set up an opportunity where it's 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, meaning that the hitter at the plate just needed a single, and Bauers would likely have scored from first. So pressure time is on, and Devin Williams gets the final 2 strikeouts. He strikes out Jackson Chourio, and after a tough at-bat, and quite honestly, a tough at-bat against Jackson Chourio as well, who did not have his best day, to say the very least, we were able to finally see Devin Williams lock down his first save with the New York Yankees. So it was a 4-2 game. The Yankees as a whole picked up 7 hits. They walked 4 times. They struck out 7 times. They finished the day 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, but their 2 home runs, their timely hitting in the bottom of the 7th, it eventually ended up putting the Yankees just enough runs to win the World Series, to win on opening day. Their World Series, maybe the World Series is winning on opening day. I'm joking. Anyways, so with the Yankees winning their first game of the season, they start the year 1-0. Let's talk a little bit about Carlos Rodon, who I thought looked brilliant. And I mean brilliant today, because Carlos Rodon was able to provide the Yankees with some strong performances, with a strong performance today. He was nasty. And when you look at the pitch usage, when you look at some of the things the Yankees were able to tweak here, the Yankees have kind of traditionally been an organization that tries to, or at least under Matt Blake, an organization that tries to be on the cutting edge of innovation, and, always try and be out in front of league trends. And one of the first things we saw early in the season from Matt Blake is that the Yankees are going to be aggressive with changing up their looks and not just attacking with fastballs. Carlos Rodon threw 28 sliders, 23 four-seam fastballs, 18 changeups, 10 sinkers, 9 curveballs, and a cutter. Carlos Rodon has never thrown his fastball at a 26% usage rate or lower with the Yankees, and he has not had a usage rate lower than that on his four-seamer since 2018, when he still threw a sinker, so he's still throwing a ton of fastballs in that outing. Now, if you look at his specific splits against righties and lefties, against righties, he was 30% changeup, 27% slider, 23% four-seamer, 13% curveball, 5% sinker, and he threw 1 cutter. So against righties, it was a heavy dosage of everything he had. He was mixing things up well. I was very, very happy to see him mix things up and keep the Milwaukee Brewers off balance. They had an average exit velocity of 84.8 miles an hour with 13 swings and misses and 20 called strikes against Rodon. They were off balance all day. They did not look very sharp against him. And then against left-handed batters, he was 39% slider, 30% four-seamer, and 21% sinker. He threw 1 changeup and 2 curveballs in that mix as well. So against lefties, his typical slider four-seam kind of usage rate, not anything that had to, not anything that you would really want to change up. He's someone who's historically done very well against lefties, but to kind of help him with the damage prevention, he started mixing in more sinkers, and I thought that pitch was brilliant for him. He had 3 called strikes on it and a swing and miss among the 10 times he threw that pitch. So that's he had 3 called strikes, 1 swinging strike. So that's 4 called strikes and whiffs on that pitch. That's out of 10. That's a 40% called strike plus whiff rate. That's really good. He threw it in zone 60% of the time. That was the only pitch he really aggressively used outside of his four-seamer inside the strike zone. And if you look at how Rodon's sinker performed today, not a lot of hard contact. It was really effective for him. I was personally very, very, very excited with the way he was able to use that pitch. The specs being the shape, the movement, the way the way that pitch functions. It was gross, guys. This sinker, oh my goodness, is it good? It's a good pitch. This is not just a show pitch, in my opinion. It was averaging 3 inches of induced vertical break with 11 inches of run. That's a ton of vertical drop coming from a really high arm slot. That's going to be a very effective pitch for him moving forward. That slider was nasty, and I think it was even nastier because of that sinker. And then that four-seamer, as usual, just peppering the top of the zone with it. Did give up that home run to Capra on it, and, that's just what his fastball is going to do. It's going to give up some home runs. Didn't get any whiffs today. I do speculate this is a pitch that he's beginning to lose some faith in, and I hope he continues to operate as if that pitch is nothing more than a show pitch, a pitch he can get some strikes with, get some pop-outs with, not a pitch he can use to get swings and misses the way he can use his changeup, his slider, maybe even his sinker or curveball for that. It's just not a particularly strong pitch for him anymore, that being his four-seamer again, but it's an important pitch because it's able to miss bats. Another pitcher who I was extremely impressed by today was Mark Leiter Jr. Now, Mark Leiter Jr. was someone who is coming off of a disappointing 2024 season. He was awful with the Yankees in the second half, and I do recognize that part of this conversation about Mark Leiter Jr. needs to be under the context of we need a larger sample size before we start parading around this idea that he's a really good reliever. But I was high on him going to spring training. I had mentioned that in one of my hot take articles and videos that I believed he would end up being a top 25 reliever in baseball. And we kind of saw a little bit of that upside today. He was sitting 94 miles an hour on his sinker. Granted, he only threw 2, I realize now. But his splitter was up 2 miles an hour. He threw that pitch 6 times. He hit 95 miles per hour on the radar gun for the first time in his career. It's the hardest pitch of his career. That's really encouraging. And then you look at the curveball, really good swing and miss pitch and a pitch that you can get called strikes with. Splitter still gross. Sinker is grosser with that additional, velocity, with that increase in velocity. It also had an increase in induced vertical break. So I do wonder if he's throwing a four-seamer instead of a sinker. I would love to see kind of I would love if there would be a conversation that Mark Leiter Jr. eventually has down the road regarding his arsenal. Tim Hill, normal Tim Hill stuff, just throw sinkers and get out. So there's that. Luke Weaver's velo was down, but he was still effective. And then for Devin Williams, his fastball velocity was down. Fastball vertical break was up. So, have to wonder if it was an arm thing, maybe just not being 100%, maybe a little bit of jitters, but ultimately he did get the job done. So all I care about is a win, and he picked up a win for the Yankees. So, there's that. Very, very excited for the Yankees to, have this pitching staff continue to find its identity, and hopefully for Rodon to use this start to build off and carry this into second starts, because that expanded repertoire was truly remarkable. And that's going to kind of end our pitching segment of this episode, or this live stream and episode, as now we're going to shift towards the offense. And I was actually really, really encouraged with the at-bats the Yankees had today, because the Yankees were facing Freddie Peralta, who is a tough pitcher to face. Look, he gave up home runs, but he was throwing his off-speed and secondary pitches extremely well. I thought he made some very strong adjustments second time through to avoid getting hit the way he was getting hit early in the outing. He was really, really dealing with the changeup. His changeup was sitting 90 miles an hour. The curveball throwing a little harder. The fastball throwing a little harder. Everything was up velo-wise, but when your secondary pitches are so good, it's hard to even imagine trying to hit this stuff. I mean, this changeup was sitting 90. That's just a deep demonic pitch. And the Yankees swung and missed 14 times against him, but when they made contact, they made it matter. And then that's kind of why I was so encouraged, because Peralta had his best stuff, I thought, today. He really brought it on opening day, and the Yankees countered. He threw haymakers, and the Yankees punched right back. So super encouraged with the game plan there. The Yankees swung at 73% of the pitches he threw in zone, only swung at 25% of the pitches he threw out of zone. Again, they were just swinging and missing at a lot of pitches in zone, and that happens when you're facing a nasty pitcher. You just got to tip your cap. Then they had some really, really strong at-bats against left-handed pitchers. Brian Hudson, yes, he got out of the inning clean, but he walked 2 batters in his appearance. And then you look at Jared Cohen, who was very good for the Brewers last year, and so was Hudson. And he came in and he really struggled against the Yankees. The Yankees were, and he's a left-handed reliever. You know, if you're Pat Holbert, not Pat Holbert. Oh my God, he's the manager who was banned from Major League Baseball. Gonna have to clean up and remember who the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers is, but it's just escaping me. If you're the Brewers manager, and I'm gonna Google this now out of respect for him, Pat Murphy, I apologize. Pat Murphy was throwing lefties against the Yankees. First 2 guys out the bullpen, lefties. It was clear. He knows the Yankees' weaknesses against lefties, and the Yankees worked some really good at-bats. They got on base. They got some big hits. Aaron Judge, big hit from Aaron Judge in the bottom of the 7th. Love that. And then Bellinger, really strong at bat, picks up the sac fly, does a job there. Not that run ended up mattering in the quote-unquote grand scheme of things, but I think for all of our mental health, like having that extra run was really, really nice. So, really happy with that. Again, the plate discipline from the Yankees overall, they were super aggressive in zone. They swung a lot of pitches in zone. They didn't expand the zone all that much, which, again, super encouraging. And that's good things are going to happen when you do that. I mean, look at the zone swing rates against all these pitchers. They were swinging at everything in zone and, not swinging at everything out of zone. So they made good swing decisions. That's a win. Austin Wells. God, I love Austin Wells. Anthony Volpe, good swings. Cabrera had a really important swing to get that rally started. Ben Rice had a really good day at the plate, in my opinion. Good walk, good hit. Just looked good at the plate today. And then, Judge. I mean, look, Judge, he looked bad in his first 2 at-bats. But whenever you come through with a big hit like that, whenever you're able to kind of have a big hit like that, it doesn't matter. Guy had a chance with runners on, and he delivered. It's exactly what the Yankees needed. They didn't have a single hit with runners in scoring position up to that point. They needed him, and he showed up. That's just thumbs up, man. That's thumbs up. So leadoff Austin Wells is going to continue to be a thing for as long as the Yankees continue to get success from him. So, I'm really excited to see how things go from there. Really excited with that win. Really happy about how the offense performed. To kind of get you guys some complete data here on the plate discipline, not a single pitcher on the Brewers coaxed a chase rate higher than 25% today. And none of them got a zone swing percentage of 68% or lower than 68% against them. So the guys who came in were basically forced to throw in the strike zone because the Yankees were not giving them anything. And when they did, the Yankees swung. So that's exactly what you love to see. Again, the strikeouts, look, you strike out 10 times, you don't love that. But when you walk 4 times and hit 2 home runs and have 7 hits doing it, you put 11 runners on base. That's where the wins are there. And, now we'll start kind of look at the comments here and look at the look at the chat, because we didn't take as much time as I thought we were going to take. Talk about the offense. Jose Medina, hi, Ryan. Didn't see the game. Glad we won. F. Boone creating narrative again, taking out Jason. No, he didn't make a mistake. Jason Dominguez coming out is more than fine. Jason Dominguez coming out isn't a problem because the Yankees needed to ensure their shore up their defense, and that matters. That's nothing against Jason. That's not personal. It's not Aaron Boone messing with a young man's confidence. It's winning games, and winning is all that matters, and making sure you win games is all that matters. So that's where I'm at there. Let's go, Honcho. Christopher Fields, what's up? Volpe narratives will be leaving my mouth in a couple days. Danny, we love to see that. We are so back. Hey, I love wins. I do. I love wins so much. I love wins so much. Juan Soto seems like an overpay. I'm not going to talk about Juan Soto. I know he had the strikeout to end the game. I know that, it's a parallel of what happened in Houston with the Yankees, where he comes with the big hit. But like, I don't know. I'm just not like it's not something I have to care about. It's not something I have to care about. It's not something that affects the Yankees. He's on a different team, and I wish him the best of luck. So, let's go Yankees. That's where I'm at. Rodon fought very well today. He pitched brilliantly. He was amazing today. Unbelievable today. That World Series, maybe. Hopefully we do win the World Series. Hopefully we do. Holmes would have blown the save. Torres would have been thrown out home. New year, new vibes. Look, I think that it's also important to note that things are going to go wrong. Yankees are going to lose games that you wish they win. The Yankees were, a hit away from a tie game. So am I going to sit here and kind of say it's a new year and the Yankees are a new team and there's a new vibe and, the Yankees are in such a good spot and, you can take that all away from one game? No, because if the Yankees had lost, what I'd sit here and say? I'd sit here and tell you it's one game. And that you should take, we should take it one game at a time. We should place so much emphasis on one game. But it's certainly good to win. And that's the balance. That's the delicate balance. I don't want to dumb down excitement, but I also don't want to get too high, because when you get too high, then when things go wrong, you got to get low, right? Because that's just the natural balance of things. I want to keep it level-headed. I want to be, rational, be as objective as possible, and treat one win the way that I'd treat one loss. It's just one. Now you got to stack wins. Now you got to talk about what was encouraging, and there are good things to take away from this game. But I think it's hard to I think it's hard for me to go with the whole angle of, well, thank God all these guys are gone, right? We'll wait and see. So there's that. Yankees won opening day in 2023. In 2023, that team was not very good. So odd thing, what? That's okay. Let's bang on Nestor next. Yeah, hopefully beat up Nestor Cortez. I love Nestor, but now he's not a Yankee. Now we have to face him. So I hope we score 1 million runs off him. Gonna feel awful about Judge that bats until May. I'm gonna feel like, he'll hit one. He'll hit this year, and that's all that matters. All that matters, folks. All that matters. Judge picked up an RBI double. That was nice. Yep. You were close, Ryan. Game early on calling the Volpe home run. Yeah, I said he'd hit a home run against Nestor. He hit the home run against. Yeah, he hit the home run against Peralta. So, that's definitely. I'll take it. I won't count it as a win for me, but hey, maybe he just has to. Maybe he just ends up hitting another home run, and he just does it Saturday. Rice had a nice hit. Yep. What website are these stats on? This is Baseball Savant. You can go on Baseball Savant. And I'll actually, hold on. Let me share my screen. I would love to just show the audience because I want to, get thoroughly through the comment section, because I have another segment I would like to do to preview tomorrow's game. This is the White Sox game. If you go here, so let's actually go all the way back. Let's say you just type in baseballsavant.mlb.com. You'll get to this part of if you type in baseballsavant.mlb.com, and I'll drop the link. I'll post this here. This is the link. It's in the comments. You can go to this tab up here. It'll be right here on the homepage, and it should be here really on any page. And if you click on the Yankee game, you can go to player breakdowns. Player breakdowns are important. Now, you're going to be throwing a lot of data at you immediately. So let's talk about what the data I'm citing or sourcing or referencing in this stream is. You have zone swing percentage, O swing percentage. This is just chase rate. How often do you swing out of zone? Thus, O zone. zone contact, how often you're making contact in zone, and then how often you're making contact out of zone. And this is just how often the pitcher was throwing pitches in the zone, right? So the data I'm referencing is, hold on, I think I meant to, let me just fix this. This all tab here. You look at zone swing percentage, 73%. Swing percentage, 25%. You can do that for every pitcher. Right here under plate discipline. Every pitcher. Under player breakdowns and plate discipline. How about Carlos Rodon? Man, it was rough for the Brewers. They took over half the pitches they saw in zone. Good sign of command. And swung at over 30% of the pitches they saw out of zone. Again, a good sign of sequencing and command. Really good sign. This is his pitch movement. Here's another important thing I like to point out, and it's splitting. It's pitch usage and pitch usage based on handedness, which is an important metric. See the pitch to use the most, right? And then you see all those usage rates change based on the hitter. A lot of changeups to righties, not only one to lefties. Lot of sliders to righties, not as many against to lefties, not as many against righties. You see more. That's where the changeup usage is up. Fastballs, same thing. Sinker usage, 5% sinker usage to righties, but 21% against lefties. So that's where you can kind of really start getting into the nitty gritty. How many pitches did he throw against righties? Threw 56. How many against lefties? He threw 33. Faced more righties than lefties, at least in terms of pitch count. Or it took him more. He threw more pitches to righties than lefties today. Threw 89 pitches. So, yeah, and then this right here is pitch movement. Induced vertical break is movement without factoring in gravity. So, without factoring in gravity. 0 is basically bullet spin. If you know what bullet spin looks like, it's like the spin of a football. So 0, let's see if we got a 0, anything close to 0 here. This right here, at least vertically, it's got that bullet vertical movement, just has a lot of lateral movement. So not necessarily bullet. But, horizontal break, vertical break. Baseball Savant's got a ton of fun tools. Now, we do have to get back to the comments here. And that's just because I have some other stuff we're going to do regarding previews for Game 2 and a little bit of Game 3. Weaver still building up on arm strength. Yeah, his velo was down, but again, his stuff, he looked, he was able to get through that Brewers lineup without much resistance. What's up, chat? What's up, John? Volpe got called on an inside bad strike, and he said, hold my beer and hit a nice opposite field home run, and notably on a fastball inside. Cranked one. Beautiful stuff. It was a barrel. Rodon used to change up a lot today. Yes, he did. What is your take with ESPN's coverage of the game? I won't lie. I didn't listen to much of the broadcast because I was in class for part of the game. And the other part of it was I just didn't really have a care to listen to the audio. I just listened to the video. I was on campus. I didn't have my earbuds. So I had to listen on mute. I did see some, people complaining. So there's that. I like Joe Buck. I think Joe Buck is good. It was good to hear him back on the call. But I did hear some talk about like exit velo and stuff. Whenever people talk about exit velo on a broadcast, I always kind of feel a little bit, for lack of better terms, I kind of cringe a little because I know it's usually not good. They were just talking baseball and Yanks, specifically other channels interject other nonsense. Look, I won't lie. I'm going to eventually interject nonsense. I'm going to, I'm going to talk about random things. I'm going to go on random tangents, but I do kind of try to stick it to baseball because honestly, I know how much, I don't really have a lot of time always, but I try to spend as much time as humanly possible with baseball. And whether that's writing, I'm always spending my time writing or recording, outside of school. So, I'm always happy to just have an opportunity to talk ball with you guys because you guys are the best. I mean, we really appreciate your guys' support. You guys have been everything we could ask for and more, in terms of social media support, video support, all that stuff. You guys tune in, you click, you check out all of our stuff. whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, it's TikTok, it's Facebook, it's this YouTube page, the website, the articles, our social media pages individually. Sam, Alex, myself, Anthony, etc., etc. Dylan, Dylan with Knicks and does some Mets stuff and does some Yankee stuff for us. Anthony does the Giants, Fireside Giants. You should check that out. Eric with Fireside Rangers. Quentin is our guy, and he throws out so many just crisp edits. There's a lot of really fun stuff going on. So we really appreciate the continued support. But I appreciate you saying that, man. Again, I try to talk as much baseball as I can because it's really fun to get to do so. Yeah, a lot of really good at bats. And again, Devin Williams was the only guy who really didn't look his best pitching wise. And we got the bad Williams adding out of the way. He had room to work with and he worked with it, had room to work with. He worked with it. Let's see. But why did Clay Holmes make the save attempt so difficult? Yeah, I will say though, the one thing that the Yankees got to see was that the Yankees had sometimes struggled with getting strikeouts in high leverage situations. Their bullpen did not strike out a ton of dudes in 2025. Their bullpen struck dudes out today, and I think that's exactly why the Yankees were able to get out of that inning. So, yes, Williams put him in that inning. He put himself in trouble, but he also got himself out of it by being able to get swings and misses. The favorite thing today was the fact that after struggling so much on high fastballs, first AB8 takes a heater at his elbows and turns it for a dinger. Really encouraging sign. We talked about it here on the podcast, Alex and myself, about Austin Wells' numbers against fastballs. And I told you, if I told the 29 teams in baseball, and now I'm going to get a little bit animated. I told 29 teams in baseball, if you want to keep throwing high fastballs to Austin Wells, go ahead. We'll take the free freaking home runs. And guess what happened? Hit a home run. Give him the free home run. Keep throwing the fastball up. Keep doing it. Keep making the mistake. Keep screwing it up. Keep making the mistake. Keep refusing to adjust. We love it. We need it. We need more of it. There's not enough of it. There's not. Dude swung his bat 75 miles an hour to crush that ball. Austin Wells isn't swinging the bat 72 miles an hour anymore. He doesn't have league average bat speed anymore. This guy's got 80th percentile bat speed. Let's stop it. Let's stop. The 29 teams need to tell their coaches, stop it. Don't tell me to throw a high fastball. I'm not going to do it. That's what pitchers need to start telling the coaches. I'm not throwing the high fastball to Austin Wells. He's going to crush it. It's a home run every time. It's a home run every time. It's a home run every time. That's what it is. It's a home run every single damn time. But I digress. Again, I hope teams don't adjust. I hope coaches continue to think they can get that high cheese by Wells. Well, guess what? It's going to take a lot better than that, than 94 miles an hour. 94 upstairs. That's insulting. It's insulting. It's insulting. I said it on the podcast. You're going to throw the fastball up, free home runs. And Austin Wells saw one. He got one fastball to hit up in the zone. First one he saw. Goodbye. First of the season. Goodbye. Adios. Get out of here. Yeah, the LB app was screwed up. I'm going to end my shtick there on the Wells thing. LB app was screwed up. And it's funny that you didn't say his name. I knew exactly who you were talking about. ESPN's pregame show sucked so bad. They only talk about Soto, sports betting, and March Madness. Terrible. I expected to talk about Soto a lot. I get it. I get it. I'm not going to do it because I'm not. Again, guys, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's not me. I'm not going to do it. We can I'll let other people get involved in the 15 years of Juan Soto back and forth discourse. Of course, he's a great player. I'll focus on the New York Yankees. Fair? Fair. Yeah, I mean, look, John, at the end of the day, streaming, there's a whole conversation about sports streaming that we could have. And I think it's completely justified and fair to be like, hey, I'm not paying the prices for the product. The product isn't. Look, people are paying Apple prices for BlackBerry products, with these streaming services. And it's time for that to stop. It's time for that to stop. What was your favorite Yankee opening day? I'd have to say it was last year's. I streamed the whole game. It was a great experience. If you were here, you got to watch. If not, then you missed out on what I thought was a great show. Obviously, again, the reason why it was great, it was a great game. So phenomenal game. And honestly, very happy with how that went. That was a phenomenal opening day. This was a great opening day, though. This was a great opening day for the Yankees. So there's that. Yep, we'll take the free home runs. We'll take them. Gare Bear, I love that name. Frustrated there's no talk about. Yeah, I mean, that is a big part of the conversation around ESPN that people are having regarding whether they talk about the games enough or not. So yeah, I mean, it's completely fair. It's completely fair to have that conversation. So, yeah. With that being said, let's start looking towards the second game of the Yankee season, because the New York Yankees will be playing not tomorrow. Notably, the Yankees will be getting the day off tomorrow, as will a lot of teams in baseball. But they will play at 1:05 at the stadium with Max Fried going up against Nestor Cortez. Now, Max Fried is an ace. He's an ace. Max Fried is one of the best pitchers on the goddamn planet. And the Yankees should expect him to perform well. He has to, this is an important first start because it's his first start at home, obviously. It's his first start at Yankee Stadium for the Yankees. Last time we saw him, he pitched his tail off at Yankee Stadium. If you remember that game, it was actually also against Nestor Cortez, which is kind of interesting. So Max Fried will face Nestor Cortez for the second time in his two most recent trips to Yankee Stadium. Now, let's talk about his career splits, how he's pitched at Yankee Stadium in his career. Again, we have that really, really good outing that you can, look back on, and, it wasn't fuzzy memories then. And I think it's his only game at Yankee Stadium. So there's that. When he has faced the Brewers, Milwaukee Brewers, in his career, he has 5 starts with a 2.67 ERA and 27 innings pitched with 25 strikeouts and notably 10 walks. High walk rate against him in his career. Doesn't really matter because it's a completely different Brewers team than some of the Brewers teams he's faced in the past. But very notably, the Yankees will be facing an old friend in Nestor Cortez. And yeah, it's going to be weird to see Nestor Cortez on another team that isn't the New York Yankees. So how do you game plan for Nestor Cortez? Well, Nestor Cortez is a fundamentally different pitcher than he was when he first joined the Yankees. He was a fastball cutter guy, started implementing the sweeper a little bit, then developed a changeup in 2024. About halfway through the season, a pitch that was really damn effective for him. He is still suspect to that long ball. He can give up home runs at a pretty high clip, and right-handed hitters have had his number really throughout his pro career. Even last year, they slugged 459 against him. Again, the only concern is whether that changeup is going to be the equalizer that keeps right-handed hitters off that pitch. Over the last few years, the strikeout rate against righties has decreased year from year from 2021 all the way through 2024. So can the Yankees kind of get some extra contact, push the ball to right field, and get some home runs off of Cortez? That is the big kind of, question here. Nestor, again, I am a big believer in Nestor Cortez. I have always been a big fan of changeups from left-handed pitchers. And so when he started throwing one, I immediately kind of bought stock last year. Kind of got burnt on it because in the World Series, he gave up the home run, and I was a very big proponent of the fact that he would be a nice addition for the bullpen. Ended up costing us game 1, so not really, not the coolest things ever happened. But look, he's got a good repertoire. He's got a good 4-pitch mix. The Yankees are going to have their money's worth, and the Yankees are not a team that necessarily projects well against left-handed pitching. So this is not a great matchup for the Yankees based on the fact that he's a lefty. But if the Yankees can get certain right-handed batters going, cough, cough, Aaron Judge, cough, cough, Paul Goldschmidt really eyeing him here because this is kind of what you brought him in to do, the Yankees may have some success if they just get 2 good swings off. Get 2 swings off. 2, right? 1 from Judge, 1 from Goldschmidt. Now yes, Eggy Rosario, something we'll talk about the Yankees roster decisions to kind of close out the show. But yeah, I do think Nestor's someone who can pitch pretty well today. So, yeah, I mean, he can look really, 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 really good. He can have a really strong outing. He can have a really strong outing. That's something he can absolutely do. There's that. How them Yankees doing recovered yet? Let's go Dodgers. Okay. Other catcher in the booth, but Girardi wasn't ready for national games yet. IMO. I actually really like Joe Girardi as a broadcaster. Have I ever mentioned that? I'm a big Joe Girardi guy. I love Joe Girardi. So yeah, I'm a big Joe Girardi on broadcast guy. And yeah, we'll talk about this in a second. Great show. Also, you look dope doing the New York Post clip too. Keep up the fantastic analysis. True service to the best fans of the sport. Keen. I really appreciate that. Let's talk about potential matchups because of Nestor Cortez being on the mound, a lefty. The Yankees, we saw their lineup against righties. What is it going to look like against lefties? Pablo Reyes is someone who's going to be involved in this conversation. I expect Pablo Reyes to get the start at third base. I also expect the Yankees to potentially put Trent Grisham in center field and DH Jason Dominguez or sit Jason Dominguez. The Yankees probably would prefer to have Dominguez get at bats against lefties, and I would prefer that. So, just saying right now, I prefer if they don't pull him against Cortez, but I do think we'll see Rice sit. I think that's something we could see. I think Wells will still play. We have a day off, so the catcher thing, the Yankees should play Wells in 2 straight games, whether that's at catcher or DH, don't care, but they should play him for the entire series because he doesn't have to play 3 straight in this series. And, we could see another player, I think, kind of shuffle up the lineup. We talked about Paul Goldschmidt leading off. Ken knows ball. Ken right here talking about Paul Goldschmidt lead off Saturday. I think that's something we could see. I would not rule out Pablo Reyes leading off. I think that'd be a funny one. Would also not rule out the idea of the Yankees acquiring a right-handed batter before Saturday. I would not be shocked to see Peraza get cut. If you remember, the Yankees immediately traded or cut Florial, I believe, after really just one game. I could be completely wrong on this, but no. That was the year they brought him up just to send him down immediately after. But Florial made the Yankees opening day roster in 2023 and was promptly sent down. I expect something kind of similar to happen with Peraza, except instead of getting sent down, I believe he will be cut from the team. So I just want to make sure I get my Yankees roster transactions right. So we're going to go to the 2023 Yankees option Estevan Florial. If I can find it. But the Yankees did option Estevan Florial really right after the season started. They had that same problem where, they had a day off. Or excuse me, he was designated for assignment. That's why I was like, man, I remember them cutting him. Okay, sorry. Going to rewrite that story. Apologies for lack of preparedness there. Estevan Florial was designated for assignment after the first game of the 2023 season. So I think we're going to see something similar with Peraza. And I think the Yankees are going to bring in a right-handed hitter. I think that's going to happen. So I could be wrong. Not 100% right on everything. I did think they were going to get an infielder before the start of the season, and they didn't. So, screw me, I guess. But as referenced by a commenter, and I think multiple commenters, the guy I want the Yankees to get is Eggy Rosario. Eggy Rosario is someone who just makes sense for the Yankees. Small sample size alert, but in his games last year, he absolutely brutalized left-handed pitching, and he has a career or in AAA at a slugging percentage of 600 against left-handed pitching. So, 25 years old, really strong defensive player, kind of quietly. If you look at his outs above average in his career, it's a small sample size again, so there's that. But 3 outs above average. I believe he has 6 defensive runs saved as well across 2 different infield positions. Can play third, can play short, can play second. He's someone who can really pick it in the infield, move around the infield diamond. I would honestly love to see him kind of get some reps there because I think he could play He can play third. He can play third, and the Yankees need someone who can play third, and that's kind of what matters, guys. So yeah, the Yankees should try and get him with however they can make that happen. Now that he's been designated for assignment, they should. So there's that. The option Caleb Durbin because raking in spring. Imagine him at he actually wasn't hitting very well in spring, and that's why they optioned him. And he also has reverse splits, which is a little bit weird. Caleb Durbin's a weird hitter. I don't think he would have been the right-handed platoon guy because I don't think he hits lefties well enough. But I think he could have started for this team. Jazz was picking it today, though. Yes, he looked really good at second defensively. Goldie, Judge, Belly, Volpe, Wells, Dominguez, Jazz, Grisham, Reyes. What I would love to have is Eggy Rosario instead of Reyes there. Grisham, yes. That's probably what they're going to roll out tomorrow, for being honest. What they could also do is, and I would not hate this, is try to see if Wells can hit lefties and lead him off, maybe, sort of, kind of, because the Brewers are going to go to a right-handed pitcher eventually in the game, and Wells had a pretty strong spring against lefties, so maybe Wells is able to have a strong at-bat here. Nestor is fastball cutter. He is tough on lefties, don't get me wrong. Wells has also caught Cortez throughout his career, so I wonder if maybe Austin Wells could look pretty good against Nestor Cortez. That's a theory. It's a theory. Just throwing out theory, guys. And you have Wells, Judge, Wells, Judge, Belly, Goldschmidt, Dominguez, or I'd go Jazz instead of Dominguez. Jazz had better numbers against lefties after coming over to the Yankees. Small sample size, but, I wrote about that a little bit. Then you put Volpe there, or excuse me, you could put Reyes there. Then you could put Dominguez, Grisham. If you get Eggy Rosario and he can, you can have him hit him over Reyes. That'd be nice because I think he's a better ball player and he's young and he's cool and he's athletic and he hits the ball hard, all that awesome stuff. So, I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing a little bit here. I know spitballing is something that, can be dangerous because you can end up with some shoddy process when you're just kind of talking around. But I do think that, you could get pretty creative. And, I would love to see Wells kind of settle against lefties because that would make the leadoff question a little bit easier. I'm not opposed to leading off Goldschmidt. I just think that if you ask Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone, honestly, that he would prefer for the Yankees to have Paul Goldschmidt at fourth against lefties. It's just a lack of righties. The Mets also cut Alexander Canario. He would be a good fit as a right-handed hitter who has some solid numbers against lefties, but I'm not sure that the Yankees will pick him up. I'm not sure. We'll see. Grisham looks comfortable against lefties. Hopefully Boone picks up on that. I think Boone's paying attention to everything. I think Boone managed a really strong game. I think Boone played. I think Boone did a good job to line up today. I think Boone managed the game aggressively. I thought Boone was aggressive pulling Rodon. I thought he did a great job today. I thought Boone was really, really good today. So, and cool story. Yankees gave Devin Williams the game belt. And, that's cool. The Yankees, they got a good clubhouse going. I'm really happy that, the clubhouse vibes early seem to be good. So there's that. Now, we've previewed game 2. We've talked about the pitching staff and how they performed today. We've talked about the offense, and we did so in under an hour. So, guys, for the final 12-ish minutes, we're going to go about an hour. Rip away with questions. If you have any questions, Yankees related, whether it's, current, future, prospects, et cetera, what's going on at Fireside Yankees? How do I get a Fireside Yankees sticker, perhaps? These are pretty cool, guys. If you get one, if you didn't go to spring training and meet up with Sam, these are pretty freaking cool. We printed these before Garrett Cole got hurt, to clarify. That was not, that wasn't intentional. A lot of questions. So let's talk about it. Mark Leiter Jr. velocity up. So Mark Leiter Jr., as we talked about a little bit in the pitching segment, but I'll touch on a little bit more extensively. Mark Leiter Jr. threw the ball really poorly with the Yankees when he first got over here. But in spring training, the 7 hardest pitches he's ever thrown in his entire pro career came in one spring. And I know people say don't care about spring, and I say it too, because it's important to not get caught up in the results. Get caught up in the underlying, not caught up, but pay attention to the data and ignore the results. Pay attention to the underlying stuff. What's this guy throwing? What's his approach on the mound? What's his approach to the plate? What do the swing speeds look like? What do the pitch velos look like? What does the movement look like? Is the stance different? Are they throwing a new pitch? Etc., etc. Things that change are not reliant or beholden on team quality, opponent quality, or game situation. And that's why I care about those things. He threw 7 hardest pitches of his career in spring training this year. And then he immediately throws the hardest pitch of his career today. And if Mark Leiter Jr., folks, is sitting 93 miles an hour or 94 miles an hour on that sinker, and he's sitting about 85 to 86 on that splitter, man, he's going to be a really, really phenomenal pitcher for the Yankees out of the bullpen. It's why I talked about him. Hey, can he be a top 25 reliever this year? I think he can. I was kind of cheating because I'm kind of, if you asked people inside the baseball industry, they'd say that's not as hot of a take as some of the other stuff I put down, because he was top 12 in strikeout to walk rate, top 12 in swinging strike rate. I mean, this guy punched dudes out. That's just what he did this past season, folks. That was his MO. He misses bats, guys. He's missing bats. He's always missed bats. Now the next question was, how do we avoid the barrels? Why are we getting killed in zone? We're getting killed in zone because we don't throw hard enough. We're getting killed in zone because that sinker is a meatball. How do we get guys to not hit my meatball pitch? Let's throw that pitch harder. Let's see if we can bump up the velo, because if we can do that, there's a larger margin for error. And in doing so, he made his splitter a harder pitch. Now that's a hard pitch to hit. Now guys can't hit the splitter, and that sinker that they've normally been able to sit on, 93, 94. Whistled one in at 95. And the shape is a little bit different too. He's getting a little more ride on it. I wonder if he's just throwing a fastball that he thinks pairs better with his splitter. I do wonder. TBD on that. So Mark Leiter Jr. velo up. Big on that, guys. Big on that. All right, we're worried about Clark's back injury. I'm always worried when we're talking about a shoulder or a rotator cuff issue. Always super worried about that. And we'll talk about whether whether that ends up being something that's a story or not. But you absolutely have to keep tabs on it. Absolutely. I mean, look, when a guy has a shoulder issue last year and then has a shoulder issue again this year, absolutely got to care about it. Absolutely got to care about it. So, I'm going to be, on one hand, I like the addition of a one-seam sinker, which they talked about in addition to the article with Carl Strong. And now I got to kind of look at his sinker reps and pay attention to him heavily. So there's that. But I am worried about the shoulder stuff. I am worried about it because I have to see him pitch again and make sure he looks good before I go, we're fine. We're not fine. We're not fine until he pitches again and looks good. This isn't a question, but I'm glad I stayed in my belief of Rodon. If he can pitch like this, if he continue this pitch mix, it's going to be a sight for sore eyes. Jordan, I agree. And I think that this is a good time to segue into that pitch usage, which we did have a conversation about it. We did talk about it, Ken. To kind of talk about it again, very briefly. What changed was the way he used his fastball. How did Carlos Rodon use his four-seam fastball? Wasn't his primary pitch to righties. Wasn't his primary pitch to lefties. Wasn't even his second most used pitch against righties. He knows that pitch gives up contact and damaged contact, and it gave up a home run today. So what did he do? More changeups, more sliders, a couple of curveballs to steal strikes, a couple of sinkers, mixing it up, keeping these guys honest. Now, he's not going to have 6 pitches going for him in one day. He's not going to have it. It's not going to happen every time. But he was a 2-pitch pitcher before. Then with the changeup, he became a 3-pitch pitcher. Then with the curveball, became a 4-pitch pitcher. And now it means that when one of the fastball wasn't on today, guys. 0 whiffs on the fastball. No whiffs on the fastball. None. Average exit velo of 96.5. When the Brewers saw that pitch, they hit it hard. That fastball was not on. It was not on. He did not have it on today. It was not a good pitch for him. Just wasn't. But why did he dominate? Because he got a slider. Because he got a changeup. Because he got a sinker. Because I got a curveball. Because I'm going to attack lefties differently than I attack righties. Because I'm going to throw my best stuff for this matchup as often as possible. And I can mix it up. And I can throw new pitches. And I'm different. I'm Carlos Rodon, not the fastball slider guy. Overpower dudes and make them hit my stuff. Because everyone can hit fastballs and sliders now. 95 isn't special anymore. 96 isn't special anymore. Everyone's got 95, 96. You know how many guys there throwing 95, 96? Freddie Peralta, he set 95. Rodon ain't special. Rodon ain't special with that anymore. That's not special anymore the way it was even 4 years ago. Pablo Lopez threw 95 today, guys. Sonny Gray isn't a hard thrower, but Pablo Lopez, so I just pulled three. You got two teams going at it here, and Blake Snell and Tariq Skubal. He throws 97. Snell throws 95. Cool. It's not unique. It's not unique. Not unique anymore. Dude, even Zach Eflin doesn't even throw hard. He was throwing 92, 91, 92. He doesn't throw hard. Seranthony Dominguez is gross. Let's see. Jose Brios, throw 95. He was awful today. Terrible. 95 ain't special, guys. And that's something that Carlos Rodon has finally realized. My fastball isn't special. It used to be special because no one could throw the way I did. Now guys can. Now you can have these pitch design labs. And now it's been 3 years since Carlos Rodon dominated with a fastball slider mix. Games changed so much in 3 years. Fastball velocity has gone up so much in 3 years. So what's special about Rodon now? Slider's still money. That changeup's ridiculous. I didn't even feel like he had the changeup going the way he had some of his other pitches going. It's a dangerous pitch. Dangerous. I mean, the Brewers made a lot of contact on it too. 100% zone contact rate against that changeup. Made tons of contact when he threw it in zone. 63% contact rate out of zone. When he threw that pitch out of zone, they were still making contact, guys. They weren't fooled by the changeup. They were fooled by the slider, though. Good God. He was 50. They had more chases than swings in zone against that pitch. Yeah, they couldn't see it. Couldn't see the slider. Look at that. 6 called strikes, 9 whiffs. So he had his slider going, so he threw it more. He threw it a little more. Leaned on it a little more heavily. But then that sinker is a great equalizer because now he's got a fourth pitch he can go to. He can really lean on that sinker, and he still got the curveball. The curveball is important because it gets called strikes. Threw 9 of them today, called strikes on 4 of them. 4 of them. Come on now. It's stupid what he's able to do now. He's got a pitch to steal strikes with. He's got 2 pitches to get swings and misses with slider and changeup. Slider works against anybody. Righties, lefties, throw all of them on him. Changeup works against righties. Sinker's going to play against lefties. Can maybe play a little bit against righties. Mix it in every now and then against righties, but mostly against lefties. Curveball, flip it in there against righties. Steal some strikes. And then fastballs in there just for show. 4 seams in there just to set the top of the zone. So that when batters start getting a little too cute and a little too focused on down in the zone with the rest of his arsenal, fastballs there, that's when 95 becomes special. That's when 95 is special again, guys. That's where it's special again. Right? 95 up and in, busting a fastball in, that's when it's special again. When you see slider, curveball, changeup, sinker, your coach is telling you, yo, this guy's throwing everything down. Got to be prepared. You can't swing at the slider in the dirt. Don't take the curve. You see you can't even tell the slider from the curveball. That's the other day. It's another whole other problem. You got a million things you're worried about. You're thinking 0-2, you're thinking 1-1. Damn, is he going to go to the slider or change up here? Boom. That's when you got 95 up in the zone when they're thinking about everything that isn't that fastball. So that's what's going to make Carlos Rodon special. The fact he's got so much you got to account for, that's special. He's got 5+ pitches, maybe 6 if that cutter comes around. But he's got 5+ pitches. Have at him. That's what makes him special. You excited about cruising that nasty splitter? Absolutely. He's throwing a sweeper now. We'll see how the sinker develops. He's canned the cutter. Cutter's a terrible pitch. He's canned that pitch finally. Finally, he canned that pitch. Thank God. That pitch is atrocious. That pitch is awful. Thank God he canned it. Sinker now, slider now, sweeper now. Really excited. Steve-O. People are saying Ben Rice is better than Tristan Casas. People are saying Ben Rice is better than Aaron Judge. People are saying Ben Rice is better than Shohei Ohtani. I might have to agree with those people, man. I might have to agree with those people. I might have to. What's up, Ethan? My dog. You guys should follow Nick's Lead. Nick's Lead on Twitter. Ethan, if you're still here, you can let me know if the @ is different on Instagram, if you guys have one. But it's @ Nick's Lead on Twitter. Guys should check it out. You do great work. I'm a big Knicks fan. Fireside Knicks, Knicks Lead. Check them both out. Love the Knicks. Yeah, again, it's just I got 5+ pitches. Now my fastball special again. It's not special because it's 95 and it's got ride. Everyone can throw that. You get someone at drive line for one winner, they'll throw that pitch. Can't teach him that sinker. Can't teach him the slider. Can't teach him that changeup. Can't teach him that curveball. Can't do it. Cannot do it. Any minor league thoughts? Carlos LaGrange, he's going to be special this year. Keep eyes on Carlos LaGrange. Ben Rice, greatest player on the planet. Many are saying this. It's going to be between him and Willie or Brady for the best player on the planet. It just is. If I ever see fastball usage near 50% on water, that's insane. So yeah, I don't support that, but yeah, I'd prefer never to see that again. But hey, here's the cool thing. If he does it, it's probably out of necessity. Let's say he just doesn't have something going, or because the other team's just not hitting it. So there's that. I'm a big proponent of throw what's working. You know, if a team's just like swinging and missing at the four-seamer, throw it 40% of the time, throw it 45% of the time. I don't believe in strict pitch usage. I just believe in smart pitch usage. And smart pitch usage varies from start to start. It varies on what you feel in the bullpen. You throw what you feel the most comfortable throwing. Matt Blake preaches that. And if Matt Blake preaches that, man, I'm going to preach it. I'm going to preach it, or Matt Blake's going to preach. Oh, in addition to minor league thoughts, I will be at the Somerset Patriots, I think April 8th or April 9th. One of those 2 dates, I'll be there. Forget, it's the Thursday. But I'll try to be there. Not try to, I will be there. In what capacity is a TBD. Won't speak on something I can't assure. So, yeah. Just be on the lookout for that. And if you're in Somerset, let me know. Stroman, if he gives us first half of last year, or if he gives you a 4 flat ERA, it's a win, right? Like if he gives you a 4 flat, it's a win, right? That's a win. Yankees need to be very aggressive with their bullpen usage with Stroman out there. Kind of a big win is that they didn't have to use anyone for more than 1 inning. Williams is the only guy who got really extended, and there's an off day, so I think he'll be fine to pitch game 2. I want Yarbrough ready to go in game 3. I want Gomez ready to go in game 3. I want Hedrick ready to go in game 3. I need at least 2. Maybe I want those guys ready to go for the this is where Fried needs to be freed. Max Fried needs to be an ace. Because the Yankees need to have those 3 guys for the next 3 starters. Stroman, Warren, and potentially Carrasco. Unless it ends up being Rodon. That's TBD. But they need to have those 3 guys ready to roll for them, because I think those guys are going to provide you maybe 4, maybe 5 innings. Maybe 4, maybe 5 if things go well. And that's not me being a pessimist on either of those guys. But, Warren's pitch count is the only one I know is really built up. How built up is Carrasco's pitch count, realistically? How about, the pitch count of... I'm so sorry. The pitch count of Marcus Stroman. How many pitches are they going to get through in the game against the Diamondbacks? Like Warren, how long can Will Warren go against a really good Diamondbacks team? This is a young pitcher. Schmidt was terrible in 2023 in the first 4 or 5 starts. King was awful when he first started out as a starter. So you got to hope that Warren's radar or his meter ticks up like this. My bar is low for Warren to start the year. He gets off to a fast start. Great. Awesome. That'd be dope. I don't expect it, though. I expect a slow start for Warren. Kind of like how I do with Dominguez. I expect slow starts and then progressively getting better. That's what I envision for both of these young guys. Warren, I think it's going to be a slow start, and then he's going to learn how to pitch. He's going to be comfortable pitching inside to lefties, fastballs away to righties, sweepers down and into lefties, back leg it, front hip the sinker, things like that. Those are some of the things I want to see from Warren as the season goes on, but I don't expect that early. If he does it early, right, Yankees are going to be in for a show. And look, Warren, I think it's there. I think it's all this stuff is great, but it's a matter of the command. And the command, it needs time. The command is always going to need time. So, yeah. What moves will the Yankees make next? I still think they get a right-handed bat. I fully believe they're going to get a right-handed bat. I fully believe it. 82 pitches. Yep. What did you think of Mackenzie Gore? Oh, man. Oh, dude, he was so good today. He was phenomenal. Oh, right? Just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Tough loss if you're the Nationals because, you got to win that game every single time. But you're also facing Zach Wheeler. I mean, he outdueled Zach Wheeler. They both pitched 6 innings, and Gore was the better pitcher today. Hard to do. But the Phillies woke up, put BTA, belt to ass, in the 10th. They actually almost blew this game, too. They should have won this. They should have had this game in regulation. Things happen. I mean, Romano blew a save, blew it in his first outing with the Phillies. I think he'll be fine over the course of the season, but not what you want. But yeah, I mean, look, there's going to be a lot for us to talk about from a more baseball general side, I think, as the season goes on, and I'm really excited for that. And yeah, I'm ready to go up on Peraza. Cabrera can play short. This is where Eggy Rosario steps in. He can play short. So, yeah, there's that. With that being said, though, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to wrap up this live stream here. And yeah, Tyler O'Neill, 6 straight opening days. I appreciate you guys checking out Fireside Yankees and all your favorites. You guys are the best. I appreciate you being here live. It means the world to me. What you guys have, again, done support-wise, showing us support, I love it. I really do. I do love it. So there's that. Love you all. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's go Yankees, and we'll be right back at it because there's a lot to talk about. We'll be at it tomorrow. Episode. Yeah. No problem, Steve. Again, Mets losing. Look, I don't care if they win or lose. I care if the Yankees win or lose. I care if the Orioles win or lose, the Red Sox, Blue Jays, all that stuff. MDT Podcast. Yes, sir. Hey, appreciate you stopping by, man. Have a great one. Peace out, y'all. Let's go Yankees. All love.